everybody. This here is the Christian Trucker, and this is my story, episode 12. Today we're going to be talking about the aftermath. The aftermath of everything that transpired from the time we lost my brother to today. You know, through the period of losing my mom and everything else that's going on. And we lost contact with a lot of people. We almost lost our home. We did lose our car. We had spent so much of our time and money going back and forth, to and fro, that we didn't have enough to pay the bills hardly. And then things happened at the house. We ended up losing our haul because I was hauling furniture. And the companies whose furniture we were hauling decided to take an estimate from another trucking company, and that trucking company beat ours, and that gave us the boot, which my trucking company didn't let us go or anything. They put me to work, but it wasn't doing anywhere near the money because I was working multi-stop freight. And anybody that's worked multi-stop freight, when you're getting $20 a stop and you're getting 5 plus stops per load, that adds up. So when we lost that contract, that put us in an even tighter spot. I kept working and hustling, but man, we was struggling financially. And like I said, we did lose our car. They come and they repoed it. I almost went bankrupt, but I was able to manage to keep my head above water. Barely, but we did. Now, my brother's girls, we lost contact with them when my mama got sick. When my mama got sick, they didn't want to have... See, my mom, she was a strong person. And she didn't want anybody to see her weakness, especially her enemies. And David's ex-wife, my mom, definitely considered her to be an enemy. And we won't go into that. But that's just the way it was. So she didn't want her in no way, shape, or form around. So that therefore meant she didn't want the girls around because they may bring her. So over the course of that long period of time where we were seeing my mom, we weren't in contact with the girls very much. Because we lived, like I say, an hour and a half from my parents. The girls lived an hour and a half in the opposite direction. And the hospital was another hour 15 minutes on the other side of my mom and them. So there was just no time left with me running a driving job. It was just no time left, and sadly his little girls got left out. And that's a relationship that I don't know will ever be repaired. I've tried, and they have dodged me. So I put the ball in their court, and they popped it. They didn't want to play. The next thing, consequence, which was, I tried to do stuff for veterans, and I tried to help military personnel. I even tried to start a little organization to help guys out, to be there to talk to them, and that was an experience that I will never forget. I treasure the things that we did get done, and I hope to go back and be able to do more in the future. It just depends on funding and all that, but if anybody out there is ever going to help veterans, be forewarned. It will not be easy. If you're not a veteran yourself, if you're not part of the brotherhood, they will not make it easy on you. Now, I went through that stage for a while, and I finally gave up because the money just wasn't there. I mean, once we were strapped, we were strapped. And if you can't help yourself, you dang sure can't help nobody else. So I had to back away from all of that, even though I did enjoy it. I mean, we took some clothes to some homeless shelters. I was starting to get networks with some pretty good people that were focused on finding homeless veterans housing. And that was one of my main goals. I mean, I always thought that if men and women would serve in our country and was veterans, they should not be homeless. I mean, we're dropping the ball somewhere, and that's where my passion went to. That's where I went to, really trying to make something happen. And I come up with a good plan and everything. I even met with a state senator. But like I say, things, if they're meant to happen, sometimes they happen. And I tried, but money talks and bullshit walks. That's what you always heard. Or either it's the pathway to hell is paved with good intentions. Well, I had good intentions, but if I'd have kept going, it would have left us out in the cold, and I would have been a homeless one with my family. And the thought of telling my wife and my son that they were coming to get our home, that was a very petrifying thought. And me and my wife discussed it, and we decided that we're going to let y'all know, in the hopes that all this is in the hopes that it may help somebody to hear our story. It may help them adjust and adapt and be able to go through hard times that they may be facing. Now, yeah, it did a number mentally on me to see the things we saw, go through the things we saw, but me being a man, and my folks raised us a little different, I was able to cope a little better. Now, it still haunts me every day, every bit of it, but I try my best not to think about it. However, my wife, she wasn't so lucky. She was with me when we went up there that night. The things we saw, she kept dreaming about it and kept driving her down, and she ended up getting diagnosed with PTSD, and that went on into depression, OCD, anxiety, high anxiety. Things got really rough for her for quite a while. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let you know now that woman is my life. I love her with all of my heart. And I think she is amazing. To have gone through everything she's went through and to still be standing says a lot about her character and her love for her family. Because there's been days, if it wasn't for her love for her family, I don't know if she would have made it herself. Her and my brother were tighter than most people I know. They were really good friends. They talked on the phone all the time. They texted. Her and my son went up there all the time when I was working, and it was great, man, to see two of my favorite people in the world so happy. Just to be able to talk and listen to music. See, they like music a lot more than I do. I can personally live without music and be happy. I mean, I listen to it, and I do have some of my favorite music, but a lot of my music is the good old music that'll rip your guts out. A good song to me is a song that'll make you tear up. Songs that really mean something. That's real music to me. All this repetitive, high energy beatbox and whatever you want to call it. That's just not my thing. I couldn't hardly ever get into any of the metal music, mainly because you can't understand the gall darn words. Because I'm more of a word guy of the story. You know, that's what I listen for. Now, she started off, we tried to go to the state to get her some help. And that failed miserably. And then we ended up going to a preacher friend of our family. Now, he helped for a little while, but he would put her on medicine that would basically turn her into a zombie. We would sit down at night when I would get home to watch a movie after we ate supper, and she couldn't even stay awake. I would watch the movies by myself. And it would make her sleep 12, 14 hours a day. I think he done that just to help her get over the rough spot. I don't know. That's what I tell myself. But she got over the roughest part of it. But whenever we was going back and forth for Mama, that exacerbated everything and made everything so much worse for her and my son. Like I say, my son, before Mama got way down, we had took him to the doctor, and they told us that he had a few issues. He was dyslexic. He had oppositional. He had autism. But you know, he's amazing too. They told us he would never ride a bike. They told us that he would never be able to read. But my wife, through all her problems and issues that have went on, still managed to homeschool my son and help him read, got him on a bike, even helped him learn how to tie his shoes. Whenever you have doctors that tell you he's never going to do those things and you accomplish them, that is a huge victory in itself. We don't know quit. We will never surrender. And I'm so proud of my little family. And people don't know the struggles you go through unless you talk about them and you tell them. And that's, you know, I did a lot of studying on the autism, Asperger's aspect, and I learned a lot from watching a lot of videos. And I'm so happy that those people put out their information so that I could learn from them. Because there was a time my son was pulling away from me and I thought I was losing him. But after I watched and I learned and I listened, I was able to get down on his level and to the interest that he had and reconnect with him. And that helped my relationship with him and my wife's relationship with me, and everything got a lot better just by me being able to watch stupid YouTube videos. That's right, YouTube videos are not stupid. If it's a topic that interests you and can help you, by George, it ain't dumb. Watch it, learn. You know, that's why we do it. That's why everybody should be doing it. To teach others and to help others. I think a lot of especially in the YouTube trucker community, a lot of us are out there saying we want to help others, and that's by golly a noble endeavor. But my wife is doing a lot better now. Things are looking brighter. Yeah, wintertime's a lot tougher than we like to admit, but she's doing great. My son's doing great, and hopefully in the next story we can talk about some more happy things. Now that these three are out of the way, I will feel better and hope that y'all would enjoy the rest of them a little bit more, because you'll know some of the story that's going to come up. Well, God bless. We'll see you on the next ride.